So earlier on today, I get an email from somebody saying that our supply chain is broken and we are going to see massive inflation very soon. Well, I want to break this down because what this person said is actually false. But what they are quoting, they're actually quoting articles and tweets and videos over on Facebook. And from what they were saying, it looked 100% correct. But here's the problem. When you look into the numbers, it's not actually true. So I want to explain what is going on regarding our supply chain and this big bubble that people say we're in, and how this could potentially be good news for inflation. So make sure you watch this entire video so that you are not missing out on anything. But let's get right down to it. Here's what I can tell you. When it comes to inflation, everybody's looking at food, they're looking at fuel, housing, new and used vehicles, and so much more. And I get it. But according to many economists, we are not looking at the right figures. Economists are now telling us that we need to look at our supply chain, and that will determine whether or not we continue to see inflation or we start to see disinflation. So here's what we know. In a recent report by UBS, it states that our supply chain stress may actually overshoot in the opposite direction, causing disinflation. Again, that's good news. And in this case, or if this is the case, that would be great for the US consumers, because this would mean we're saving money. Now, in this report, it also states that delivery times have flipped in the opposite direction, which means, again, we're saving money. Products are getting to the US consumers faster than originally. That, again, good news. And I can vouch for this. Over the past couple of weeks, I've purchased a few different products from companies outside of Amazon, and I always gauge where we're at based off of things outside of Amazon, because again, Amazon is very quick. But the product showed up within a few days, not weeks. I ordered a toy for my son. I ordered it Friday evening. It showed up at my house Tuesday morning. That's how quick it was. That is something that we usually don't see unless it's coming from Amazon. And this was not coming from Amazon, wasn't coming from Walmart or Target, wasn't coming from a big retailer. It was coming from a smaller supplier, which again means we're able to get those items out quicker. Now, this is a sign that our supply chain is improving, but don't get the wrong impression here. This doesn't mean that you need to go out there and just buy whatever you can afford. Don't do that. Because according to experts, what they're saying is one of the reasons why our supply chain is improving is because less people have money, so it means they're purchasing less goods. So that's why things get to us a little bit quicker. Now, there is more to our supply chain than just that. Freight costs are also below historical averages, especially on the China-US shipping routes, so that's good news there. We're also seeing fuel costs are lower than they have been in previous years. Again, that's good news there. Although chances are we are going to see an uptick in fuel costs come this spring. We also know the cost of materials has been going down as well. So this is a positive sign that soon we should see disinflation. However, as of right now, it is still somewhat high. Now, I want to go over one thing though, and that is that what does our supply chain really consist of? Because a lot of people that I've talked to, they get our supply chain a little bit confused. And our supply chain is very massive. Most people don't realize how big it actually is. So in a recent conversation I had with a friend, he asked me to kind of explain our supply chain, what this really means, and why is everybody talking about our supply chain? Well, here's the thing. Let's take something very basic, like a hamburger bun from McDonald's, right? A lot of people go to McDonald's. Let's talk about a hamburger bun for a second. So I'm not gonna get too specific here, but let's say, the hamburger bun, right? Somebody has to make it. Now, the person that makes it, they obviously have to get the ingredients. So they got to get stuff from, farmers, and the farmer has parts for their tractors, and they have fertilizer and things like that. But they also have somebody that delivers the bun to McDonald's. They likely are using a truck. The truck needs fuel. The truck also needs a driver. The truck that makes it to McDonald's, somebody must unload it. They take the hamburger buns and they put it most likely on a shelf. and who produces that shelf. The buns also likely come in a plastic bag. They're not just scattered around the back of the truck, right? Who produces that plastic bag? And what materials are needed to produce it? Do you see how far our supply chain can go and how far it can reach with just one simple item? Now, that was kind of one of the examples I used when I talked to this person, and they started to understand that, okay, every little thing matters. And this is why when economists say that our supply chain is getting better, you have to look at this thoroughly because there are many moving parts here. And just because our supply chain for fast food, for example, is getting better, this doesn't mean that the supply chain is getting better for a hotel chain or a local supermarket or even massive company like Walmart. It doesn't mean it's getting better. So this is where the supply chain in certain areas is improving, while in other areas it's not looking so great. So our supply chain is very complex. So the more we know about it, the more we're going to know as far as when we could potentially see inflation come back down. Again, disinflation. And again, I know a lot of people are wondering what is going to happen with inflation. So as soon as I get more reports as to what is going to happen, I will let you know. But one of the best things that we are seeing right now is that the costs are coming back down to levels that we haven't seen or we last saw really in 2018, 2019. Here's the only problem. The only problem is over the past 3-4 years, really 4 or 5 years, what we've seen is wages have taken they've just gone up. They've skyrocketed, they've surged. And so because of wages are creating this inflationary push that we don't want. So, according to economists, what we need to wait to see is employment. Employment has to take a hit. And we will continue to see inflation until employment takes a hit, until we see elevated numbers of unemployment. So, if you see or hear stories about the Federal Reserve looking for ways to slow down the economy, don't be shocked, because they are likely going to target employment. Because the only way that the Fed can really do anything about inflation is through rising interest rates. As of right now, many people are saying that the Fed was too late to the party. They did too little too late. And so now we're likely to have higher levels of inflation for many months. Some are even saying that this could go into 2024, possibly even into 2025. So here's what I can tell you. This supply chain bubble that a lot of people are saying that we're in, just understand that yes, the supply chain is improving in certain areas, but the reason why I call this a bubble is because some say all it takes is one little hiccup in the chain, one little link to break. And once that link breaks, our whole supply chain could just crumble. This could be something as simple as truckers. Our truckers, are we getting more truckers into the system? If we're not, and we see more truckers decide to leave the industry, just leave the field entirely and retire, that could be the hiccup in our chain that would cause additional inflation. Same thing for fuel. If fuel costs rise just unexpectedly, we could see again our supply chain kind of bursts. And that could be that hiccup in the chain that causes everything to really crumble. So again, as soon as I get more information as to what is going on and how you may be affected, I promise I will bring you the news and updates as soon as possible. Again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.